welcome back to Colouring with Amy. So we're going to be doing the second part of this video and doing some shading in here. I've just realised I haven't got out the colours I needed for this one. There's that one, and got a nice bright red. Dear, just dropped a pen on the floor. Right, so I'm just going to zoom you in a bit. So as you'll see, I've already done a little bit of shading on these leaves already, and I've also done some shading on the water. So we're going to continue. So I've done up to about here, and I've also done a little bit of fur on the otter. So we're going to start from here and work our way over this way. I'm not going to do all of it on camera. I'm going to do bits of it and show you just how I'm doing it. Okay, so let's get going. So I'm going to zoom in a tiny little bit more. So I'm using polychromos pencils to go over the top, and I'm using a hooker's green, which is a lovely dark green, and I'm just putting in shading where I feel it needs to be, which is generally on the edges of the leaves, at the bottoms, and sometimes a little bit in the middle. And then I've also got a leaf green just to go over the green base as well. So how is everybody? I can't remember when I did this part one of this video. I think it was about 4 or 5 days ago. But I think I then did a little bit of the shading, I think, a couple of days after that, because I was really, really worried that the blue water that I'd put down was way too bright and dark, and it all looked a little bit flat. But actually, once I put the shading in, I was like, actually, this is going to work. This is going to work. So, yeah, I was quite pleased after I'd put that bit of shading in. I could see how it was going to come together. And on the otter as well, with the fur that I did on the otter really works as well, so I was really happy. I still haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do his head, because his head is a much lighter brown, or it's more creamy beige, to be honest, or taupe even. So I don't even know if it's taupe. It's taupe, is it? I don't know how you say it. So I haven't quite figured out that part yet, but I will. But maybe I won't figure it out on camera. So yeah, little parts of this to figure out. I haven't decided what I'm doing in the sky yet. I might do clouds. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I do like the way he's coming together, this little otter. I think he's going to look ever so cute, is what I will say. So yeah, just along the edges of the leaves, where there's folds, they fold on one another. I don't know what that is. It looks like a piece of fur. That's how I tend to do it, really. And the polychromos in this, I've found that with polychromos, they tend to work really nicely on like shiny paper. So I found, recently discovered, that I really like using them in Lulu Mayo's books. I've really struggled finding something that works nicely on them. I mean, with Lulu Mayo's books, I'm finding I'm having to put lots and lots and lots of layers to really build up the colour and get the vibrancy. But that's what polychromos are like. You have to spend the time putting the layers down to get the true colour tones of these pencils. I mean, they are amazing, and I really like them because they're so much harder. So there we go, that's that first one shaded. So I'm just going to carry on. I didn't get on with Prismacolor. I make no secret of that. I did have a set of 24 and I tried them on a couple of pages. There's one I think I tried them in, which book was it? It was a Johanna Basford one. I think it was a Magical Jungle page. It's the one with the hippopotamus kind of in a dip, and then on the other page it's very similar. And I tried it on there, and I just didn't like the way, I didn't like the laydown at all. And it just looked very, very, it wasn't as smooth as I was expecting it to be. I maybe didn't blend them, I don't know, but I didn't like them. I found them way too soft for me. And I tried these, and I like the hardness, you know, the fact that you don't have to, they keep their point for quite a nice time. Yes, you have to build up the layers, and that takes a while, but I do like them. And I'm discovering that I really like, so I really like them in Lulu Mayo. I really like them in Johanna Basford. I really like them in, I think I'm probably going to like them in Eerie as well, because I found that Eerie, well, at least the first tale, the pages were quite shiny again, so I think I'm going to like them in Eerie as well. So I'm going to give them a go in that. I don't know what these little things are on here. I'm probably going to do them like a dark purple. So I'm going to give them a go in Eerie as well, because I used my Arteza Expert in Eerie, and I didn't like them very much in that. Whereas my Arteza Expert in Rita Berman, I absolutely adore. And I wouldn't use anything else in Rita Berman. I've tried my Black Widows in Rita Berman, and I didn't like them in there. Whereas I absolutely adore my Black Widows in Hannah Carlson and Maria Trolle. So I'm beginning to work out what books, like, for me, and what pencils work. Which is, it's amazing, you know, before it was just trial and error, but now I'm really like, okay, yeah, Hannah Carlson, Black Widows, Maria Trolle, Black Widows. I'm really beginning to understand how my pencils work. It's really amazing when that takes a long time, a lot of trial and error, but you do get there. So I would just encourage you, if you're new, to just experiment, work out what you like. What someone may like, you may not. You know, it depends how you colour, whether you're light-handed, whether you're heavy-handed, etc. And whether you like the pencils to be soft, whether you like them to be hard. It really is very much personal experience. Well, not personal experience, but personal preference is what I found. I mean, I am swayed by what, you know, I bought the, I've read so much about the Brut Funa macarons and the pastels that I bought some of those when they were on offer on Amazon. I have to say I really love them, and I'm very, very tempted to get the square barrels because I've heard that they're similar. Right, so that's all of the Hooker's Green, and now I'm going to go back over all of that with Leaf Green from the polychromos, and that will just blend the colour together and just go over that lovely base that we put down. And it actually just brings out the colour even more, which is really, I really liked that when that happened the other day. So yeah, so what was I saying? Personal preference with pencils is what I have found. I don't feel as though I need to experiment and buy any more pencils, because I really like, you know, I've got Arteza Expert, I've got Black Widows, I've got polychromos, I've got a pastel set of Brut Funa, and I think for me, I found the ones that I like, and I don't feel the need to buy any more. So that's it's a nice position to be in. And I know with polychromos I can get them open stock, and I found I like getting mine from Spectrum Art. They're like they were when I got my pencil, something like £1.36 a pencil. I know they've gone up significantly since then, but I haven't yet had to replace any of the. I bought mine. I had to build my setup because I couldn't buy mine is a big 120 set. And the only ones I don't have are the metallic golden ones, because I just didn't feel as I wanted them. Okay, so that is all of the green. Now we're going to do the shading in the water. So you can see I've done the shading here on the left, and we're going to go now and move it to the right. I'm not going to do all of this on camera. So I've done like a shade underneath his body, and essentially what I do is just go around where all of these green bits are. So make sure and put a shadow in the water. And that I found worked really well the other day. And it did it, and then I went over the blue with which I've got a phthalo blue, I think. Yeah, phthalo blue. And that just knocked back some of the pen, which I found was very bright. And what I intend to do with this is I've got an acrylic top coat, which is like a shimmery top coat. I can't remember what it is at the minute. I think it's something like folk art top coat, shimmer in blue. And what I intend to do is go over this water in that to give it a shimmery effect. And I'm hoping that will also just knock back the colour a little bit more as well. So yes, that's what I'm intending to do. I may do that, or I've got some Nouveau Mousse in Angel Eyes, which is a really light blue. And I'm either gonna, I can't decide whether to use that or whether to use a top coat, because the Angel Eye will basically just take out all of this colour that we're putting down. And I think that's a bit of a shame, whereas the top coat literally will put a shimmer on the top. So I'm tempted more to go with that than I am with the Nouveau Mousse. But we'll see. I might put a little bit of the Nouveau Mousse in nearer the top to give an illusion of it being, the water being lighter at the top. Don't know, we're going to see how it goes, but I'm probably not going to do that on camera, because this video is all about showing you how I use my water-based markers and then how I go over that in pencil to bring out the colour, do the shading and that kind of thing. So I may do a short on how the kind of page comes together at the end, because I've just discovered shorts, and I might just do one of those. So you'll have to wait and see whether I do that or not. So as you can see, yeah, I'm just going in between all the leaves, putting in the shading. I said I wasn't going to do all of this in camera, but I might actually, because it's going much quicker than I thought it would. Yeah. So I hope everybody's well. I feel much better than I did earlier on in the week. I think I filmed the last part of this video on Wednesday, and I really felt unwell on Wednesday. So yeah, I feel much better today. My toothache, because I've had wisdom toothache, I haven't got enough room for my wisdom tooth to come through, and every so often I get a flare up where whether it's like they've moved or something or tried to grow, and I get a flare up and it's very painful, and it can cause kind of like cold-like symptoms. So I can have a stuffy nose, sore throat, but it'll actually just be my tooth rather than. So there you go. So that's the shading with the water. And now I'm going to go in with the phthalo blue and just blend some of that out. Yeah, and it can behave like flu-like symptoms, where actually it's not, it's not cold at all, it's just my tooth playing up. But I really did feel unwell on Wednesday. I feel much better today. Had a nice weekend. It was a bit of a nightmare yesterday. I tried to get my daughter to swimming, and there was an accident on the road, so whichever way we went, there was a traffic jam, and I thought we were going to be stuck on the motorway for hours. But we weren't. We were home. So we left her house at 10:15, and we got home at 11:15, which is about the same time we would have got home if we'd have actually got to swim in. But we didn't get to swim in. We just drove around in a circle. So that wasn't much fun. And then because my husband's not been well, We were going to go over to my in-laws today, but that didn't happen because he's not been very well. So yeah, so and he cooked a roast dinner with pretty much, we hadn't like planned a meal today, so we were going over to my in-laws. So I was like, well, we've got chicken in the freezer, we've got this, and he was like, okay, well, I'll just do a fake roast dinner. So he kind of roasted the chicken breasts and made do with what we had in the house, which was amazing, really. I love it when a plan like that comes together. So there we go. That's how I've done the shading and the water. Then with the fish, I'm just going to do one of these fish. I put some darker bits here on the tail. And then I put a darker red, and then I think I even brought in a yellow. Yeah, did I put any yellow? Just to kind of mix that together and bring out the colour a bit more. So that's the fish. And then with the otter, so this is not circular, it's scumbling as they call it. This is strokes. So I will show you here, and I go in line with the line art. So it is building up the colour with strokes. So the pencil's got to be quite sharp, is what I've found. And it's building up the strokes with the line art. And going in the way, the strokes need to go in the way that the fur would go. And it's, yeah, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. And then I've got a darker brown, which is a walnut, no, it's a burnt umber. And I'm going in and doing the same thing over the top. And I think it just builds up the texture. You know, you can put darker bits. I did this in I've just finished a matchstick mouse picture, which you'll see in my completed pages. And this is exactly how I did my matchstick mouse fur. And I think if you want the fur to look shorter, then the strokes need to be shorter and much closer together. But with an otter, I think the fur is much longer. So it's kind of like this rather than. And then you just keep doing that and building it up with different colours, depending on what colour you're going for. So that's how I'm going to be doing the otter's fur. So I'm just going to zoom you out so you can see that. So yeah, here we go. So we've done all the shading on the green, we've done all the shading in the water, done the shading on a fish, and we started the fur. So you can see where the two bits of fur have been done, this bit here, this bit here. So I've got to do all of this up here. And I've got told these were sea urchins, which makes complete and total sense. So why I coloured them green, I have no idea. So I'm probably going to go back in and colour them black, because on Animal Crossing they are black, blacky purple. So I'll be going back in and changing those. But yeah, so I hope that's been useful. Look out for this on my completed pages at the end of next week. Any more requests for things you'd like to see, let me know. And anyone wants to do a colour along, let me know. I'm going to be doing a colour along in mine, Rise the Duck Asian, but that might be next month now rather than this week, because I've got a couple of I think there's a couple of tags I want to do. So yeah, have a good week. I will see you at some point this week, I think. But yeah, that's it from me now. Okay, bye.